Hey everyone, Brian with you from TheGameCommon, and we are playing some more Planet Coaster, continuing with some more footage from our live stream. And yeah, we're continuing with our restaurant area, I guess is the best way to describe it. So once again, we were just trying to do something a little bit different here. Hadn't really adjusted the grid size all that much, so that was one of the things we ended up doing with this building, was kind of doing a little bit of the shorter grid as opposed to, what is it, like the 4-meter wide grid. We just did the 1-meter wide grid just to kind of get a different flavor on the building. We also used the different wood type just because I wanted a little more options when it came to roofing and whatever else we were end up doing. So really just trying to like vary up our park as much as possible, just to give everything just a slightly different flavor. I mean, obviously we could copy paste everything over and over again, but you know, that's not fun. That's not fun. So we were having some issues copying pasting there, so we ended up having to just go ahead and rebuild our roof. Now, I don't really remember what we actually did on this roof and if we kept it as is, but I remember it was a little different, but I actually liked how it came out. Oh yeah, we ended up using these. The only issue we had is the fact that, well, did we use those? I guess we didn't use those. It's been a while since I actually played the game. We're actually coming to the end of the backlog, so I'm gonna have to actually come in and start doing things differently. Yeah, we did end up using those. But you see how it kind of had the overhang issue like that, where they were just kind of at a different level, which kind of bugged me a little bit. So I don't know what we ended up doing to resolve that, if we just left it as is. And we just left the little overhang there, if we did something different there. I guess maybe we left it as is, or did we just... Oh, I think we just went more... What did we do? This is kind of fun trying to figure out what we ended up doing here. So we just completely did the roof completely different. That's what we did. I thought we used those roof tiles. Like, I was almost certain we ended up using those roof tiles. I just didn't remember what we did exactly. So, yeah. And now the only issue is you can see we have a little bit of an overhang on some of those others, but we ended up throwing some framing out just to kind of mask it a little bit. I'm not a huge fan I don't know, I just don't get why some of the roofs are so different, like why the overhangs hang like it like that, but I mean, it is what it is. So I love what we did there with kind of how the wood pops out. Oh, someone's following us. Yeah, so I really like how that looks. I think it looks kind of cool. It almost looks like a back of a plane or something like that that's just popping. We ended up noticing that we ended up doing the sidewall completely wrong there. We put down the wrong framing. And so then here, we're just in the same kind of boat where we're just trying to like frame up the walls and stuff like that, because it's just a little plain right now. Like, there's just missing something. Like, it needs something, because it's just a big flat wall. So it's like we need some sort of texture. We need some stuff going on with there. We end up using the fence that we were looking at for the roof on the other side. We end up using that kind of on the front side, I think on the sides as well, just to kind of frame it out a little bit better. And then we kind of have the corner issue here where it's like a little weird and it just doesn't quite look right. And I don't remember exactly how we ended up fixing it, but we did do something different with it just to make it look right. But once again, just trying to frame everything in, just trying to get everything, you know, a little more situated. Oh, yeah, that's kind of not a bad idea, Brian. Yeah, we use these other roofs, which look somewhat similar. Now, the tiles don't exactly match up, but it's not really the most noticeable thing super early on. And yeah, you don't really need, I think, any of the framing and stuff like that on the corner then as much, because you got the roof that kind of pops over. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like that. And then did we end up using these poles here? I mean, I like how those look. The biggest thing is the fact that they don't really fit so much with the pathway and the stairs and stuff like that. They look kind of ugly with that. But other than that, I mean, they're still okay. I think at this point, yeah, we were looking for the frame because I wanted to see how large they were. Yeah, and it was like, that doesn't quite work right. So we might have to do something different. Oh, so we put the pole there to actually make it look like it's hanging on the pole. I got you, Brian. I got you. Good job. Good job. And then I didn't like it, and so I ended up deleting it. you know how it is. You know how it is. There we go. There we go. There we go. So yeah, I'm digging how our park's working so far. Now the thing is, it is not against the wall, Brian. Was that intentional? Yeah, okay, we ended up deleting it because we didn't like it. Oh, yes, we ended up using the pipes. So we kind of have a bit of a steampunk theme going on over here, because we got the pipes on this side, we had the lights on the other side. So this area, even though it's kind of piratey, kind of has a little bit of a steampunk, which I suppose steampunk and pirate theme can actually kind of intertwine itself a little bit, you know, I don't think it's too terrible. And then those pipes actually work really well over here on the corners too, and that kind of fleshes it out. Yeah, okay, I like it. The other thing we could end up doing is we could put it on the inner corners on the back side. So we kind of have how the back wall kind of goes in a little bit. Being able to put the pipes on the inside, I actually think would be very helpful over there too. I didn't do that. I know I didn't do that. Oh yeah, and then we had some exhaust pipes on the outside, because why not? Why not? And so then we wanted to add the lights, and so we got these framing, and it took us forever just to kind of get the lights in the right position. And then I decided I didn't actually like that framing because it kind of had the top and bottom kind of curved around, and so I was like, we should do it so it's just the one side. So yeah, so it's just hanging down. And this isn't so much steampunk. This looks a little more like 1800s kind of feel. We didn't actually have it perfectly left and right there, so we kind of had to like finagle it closer. But you know, it is what it is. I think it works. Yeah, and I just ended up hating that, so we ended up just deleting that. I think, yeah, we just left the wood over there because it's just kind of boring. And so once again, we kind of come over here and try figuring out, just to kind of frame out our top. The other thing we end up doing here in a minute is we're about to go to the bathrooms and start fixing the bathrooms because, yeah, we needed something with the bathrooms. So I'm trying to keep them all the same level. So what essentially we're doing is just copy pasting. So we end up transferring over the old banner, and then you can just click on the new banner and hi, someone just subscribed. I think that was a YouTube subscription. That's great. So yeah, this area is definitely coming together. At this point, I think we wanted to go ahead and work on some of our water. Oh, we needed to flesh out the Instagram area. That was it. We wanted definitely some benches. And I really wanted the other trash cans, but those trash cans didn't really work with the corners because they were going to look crooked. So that's why we ended up using the circle ones instead, because when they're facing the wrong direction, it doesn't really matter. And then we do the bathrooms. At some point, we add in water here in just a second. Now, I think this bathroom, I made it oversized on purpose, simply because, once again, we just really wanted to make it look like it was a giant bathroom, even though, once again, they don't actually use the bathroom, like, they just kind of, like, disappear into the void. You know, it's very much for just aesthetic state at this point. What did we end up doing with this one? I want to say we ended up doing some curved walls or something. I kind of like the various level poop pipes. Yeah. I like the various level on the roofing, because that's something we hadn't really done a whole lot. I think we end up deleting that glass because it just doesn't really fit so well here. But yeah, actually, I like how that looks a lot. And then we kind of frame it a little bit differently. I'm pretty sure we did do poop pipes out of the top, which, yeah, you know, you got to have an exhaust pipe, right? And then I actually really liked how this framing looked, because you could kind of get some very unique looking shapes going. I didn't say shapes, but you get just this nice little framing aspect of it, and it just looks good. And that's really what we're just looking for, just trying to make it look good. And then you frame out all these things with a little bit of plants and stuff like that, and it's just like 10 of 10. Now, the one thing I absolutely abhor is I hate the bathroom tile. Like, I wish you could actually change how the tile look, because it just looks like bleh, in my opinion. But you know, the bathroom didn't quite extend all the way to the ground here, and we tried the terrain, but the terrain wasn't quite working, so we ended up just building it up a little bit, which, you know, whatever. And then we did this little thing here, which I've not done. And once again, it's just sometimes you just do these, like, little stupid things that actually work really, really well, and just give you a little bit of a different shape, and just kind of like pop it out just a little bit, and just make it look a little bit better, just to give a little bit of texture to the walls, so it's not just a big flat wall. And that's, I mean, kind of really what we're trying to do, just adding a little bit of assets in the game, just to make it look a little more fully fleshed out. Now, we didn't add it to the back, because I don't really care about it. Now, what do we think of it? It's okay. I think my biggest problem with it is you can kind of see some of the round top on some of the wood, and so I'm not a huge fan of that. I definitely don't like those planters. I hope I did something different. Yeah, okay, good. Oh, yeah, we ended up adding a kind of deck here, didn't we? Yeah, that makes sense. I thought we did something curved. It was actually the deck we ended up curving out. So we could actually put some plants and stuff there and actually make it look a little more realistic. Yeah, that looks so much better. Now, no one's actually going to be able to walk there, and with the framing as it is, yeah, it wouldn't really work But I wonder if we ended up putting a fence, because that's one thing we really could do, is we could end up putting a fence around the outside on that. And that might not be a bad idea. Like, we delete the pathway maybe on just that little section of path, and then add in a fence around the wood structure, and maybe that would work. I don't know. I mean, it kind of works. It kind of works. We had a lot of different bathrooms. I ended up picking the fantasy one over the pirate one, mostly because I think the pirate one was just a little too large. And then here we were basically like, okay, it's time for us to actually make the lake here. So let's try getting this as high as possible. Let's flatten this out as much as possible. And one of the issues we ended up discovering was, I think it was our pathway was actually causing issues. Yeah, it was actually the pathway itself that was causing issues why we couldn't do the water. So we ended up having to actually lower the terrain. So it wasn't, or did we end up deleting him? I'm trying to remember what we ended up doing here. But we discovered that it was the, oh no, maybe it was because I couldn't get that high enough, the terrain high enough to actually make the water. I don't remember. I'm almost certain we ended up having to lower it. Yeah, we undid everything. Because what's happening is you can only have the pathway so high above the water. Like, there has to be a certain distance between the water and the pathway. So ultimately what we ended up having to do was just lower everything just to make it work, which I kind of hate, to be honest. I would rather the water go a little bit closer, but I mean, from a visual standpoint, you can't really tell the difference. It kind of looks like it's almost right on top of the water, so I think it ends up working out. Here, we're just trying to, once again, get that as low as possible, just because we wanted that not to be in any of the Instagram shots. And then I think we just add some foliage around here and just really trying to smooth it out and make it look as good as possible. And then here, it's just like, it just didn't really look good with the buildings and stuff like that, so just trying to like flesh this out, straighten some stuff out, get a little bit more flatter terrain. We're flattening the terrain over to the left of the buildings right there, because that's eventually going to be a seating area. I hadn't done that yet. That's going to be probably one of our next episodes. I should mention, I think next episode we're probably going to do a walkthrough of our parks. So if you're wanting to see some of the stuff in real time, that's probably going to be happening in the next episode, I would imagine. I gotta actually record the next episode. Probably gonna get to that tomorrow. Do some of the stuff. Maybe I'll work on that here in a minute, because I'm still not 100%. So I think, yeah, that's something we could work on today. And then I think the last thing we ended up doing was just working on some of the roof, just to kind of lighten it up. I wasn't a huge fan of this color here. I thought it needed to be a little lighter, just to kind of match the rest of the wood. Like, I think it needed to be a little more gray, just to kind of match the space. I don't know if I really like that gray. I might have to go back and change it again. I might end up changing it a little bit. And then once again, just kind of adding some plants around the bathrooms just to make it look a little more realistic. So we're almost at the end of this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, drop a like, comment. Let me know what you want to see in the series. Let me know what you like. As always, hit the subscribe button, join the game, comment, and show your support. Yeah, that looks so much better with plants. Like, seriously, the two things that you just need to do: add plants, add freaking stuff, add just like assets around the building. And like look at how much better that looks just with a little bit of plants, just kind of masking some of the imperfections on the building and stuff like that. So much better.